Dr. Ruzairi Abdul Rahim, Vice Chancellor of UTHM, accompanied by the senior officers of UTHM. Please rise and remain standing, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Johor will be played, followed by the Nagaraku. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. The Honorable Professor Technologies Dr. Ruzairi Abdul Rahim, Vice Chancellor of UTHM, the Honorable Professor Technologies Dr. Muhammad Kamarul Zaki Mustafa, Provost Pago Campus, the Honorable Professor Dr. Muhammad Zakino, the Dean of Faculty of Applied Science and Technology, the Honorable Professor Technologies Dr. Hajah Roziati binti Ibrahim, Chairman UTHM Council of Professors, Madam Zahara Abdul Samad, Chief Librarian Tunku Tun Aminah Library of UTHM, Council of Professor Members, our presenter for today, the Honorable Professor Dr. Muhammad Arif Agam, our distinguished academicians, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to welcome you to UTHM inaugural lecture. As part of the university's efforts to improve its reputation through research and study, professors' knowledge is shared with the public inside and outside of the university through inaugural lectures. This event will also permit commercialization or public dissemination to aid relevant parties in addressing the difficulties or challenges, and to showcase the areas of competence of the selected professors as a source of inspiration and encouragement for students to achieve greatness. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Azrai Kamisan to recite the dua. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa liwalidina warhamhum kama rabbawna shighara wa li jami'il muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, di hari yang mulia ini kami memohon kehadrat-Mu, berilah kekuatan, taufik dan hidayah kepada kami supaya kami dapat memperbaiki diri kami. Tambahkanlah ya Allah kepada kami ilmu, iman dan amal. Kuatkanlah tekad dan semangat kami untuk berkhidmat kepada universiti ini dengan lebih cekap, berintegriti serta cemerlang. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, dengan keluasan rahmat-Mu, kami memohon agar Engkau berkati dan rahmati Majlis Syarahan Perdana Siri 2 2002 yang akan disampaikan oleh yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Arif bin Agam yang diadakan pada pagi ini. Kurniakanlah kepada kami, ya Allah, keberkatan ilmu-Mu. Sinarilah hati-hati kami dengan cahaya dan hidayah-Mu. Semoga dengannya kami mudah menerima dan menghayati serta mengamalkannya. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, ya Rabbal Alamin. Engkau perbaikilah akhlak kami, hiasilah kami dengan akhlak-akhlak yang baik dan terpuji. Hindarilah kami, ya Allah, dari segala sifat-sifat mazmumah. Hindarilah kami juga dari sifat lalai yang merugikan dan bimbinglah kami ke jalan kebenaran. Ya Allah, ya Hayyu, ya Qayyum, ya Dzal Jalali wal Ikram. Kau terangilah hati kami dengan cahaya petunjuk-Mu. Bukakanlah kepada kami pintu hikmah-hikmah-Mu dan limpahkanlah ke atas kami daripada khazanah-khazanah rahmat-Mu. Hindarilah kami dan lindungilah kami, ya Allah, dari sebarang bentuk bala bencana, banjir yang membinasakan, ribut taufan dan kebakaran, peperangan dan persengketaan, wabak serta penyakit berjangkit. Ya Allah, kurniakanlah kepada kami kesihatan yang sempurna dan muliakanlah kami dengan ketakwaan, serta doronglah kami dalam meniti keridhaan-Mu. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Taqabbalallahu minkum.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Azrai. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite the Honorable Professor Technologist Dr. Hajah Roziati binti Ibrahim, Chairperson UTHM Councils of Professors, to introduce the speaker for today's inaugural lecture and also to invite him. Please welcome.
Terima kasih Puan Fazilah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi. Yang berbahagia, Profesor TS Dr. Ruzairi bin Abdul Rahim, Naib Chancellor UTHM. Yang berbahagia, Profesor TS Dr. Muhammad Kamaruzaki bin Mustafa, Provost Kampus Pago. Yang berusaha, Puan Zahara binti Abdul Samad, Ketua Pustakawan UTHM. Yang berusaha, Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Zaki bin Noh, Dekan Fakulti Sains, Gunaan dan Teknologi, Ahli Majlis Profesor Universiti, Pegawai Kanan Universiti dan para hadirin sekalian. Yang berbahagia Prof dan para hadirin sekalian, izinkan saya membaca biodata pemidato pada pagi ini di dalam bahasa Inggeris. Muhammad Arif Agam is a professor at the Department of Physics and Chemistry, Fakulti of Applied Science and Technology, University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. He is currently the Director of Student Development Center. Professor Arif obtained his PhD from Nanoscale Physics Laboratory, University of Birmingham in 2006, where he was awarded with Best Malaysia UK Student in 2005. And he has work experiences of more than 20 years as an educator. He started his career as a teacher in 1989 until 2000, before he joined UTHM in 2000. In terms of management, he held several positions at the university as a Deputy Dean for Research from 2009 until 2012, and as a Deputy Dean for Graduate Schools from 2013 until 2015. Professor Arif has contributed in various UTHM projects and faculty programs, including as the key person in the development of the Nanotechnology Laboratory and the formation of the Institute of Integrated Engineering at UTHM. His research interests include laser, electron beam, and radioactive irradiation to polymers, where they are now diversified into polymers, mono and bimetal composites that are able to be tuned by dopant concentration and low-intensity laser irradiation. The diversification of his research has reached towards biosynthesis, water remediation, wave absorber materials, and solar cell research based on polymer metal nanocomposite and their restructuring phenomena due to low-intensity laser irradiation dosage. Professor Arif also has interest in education, especially in understanding Genesis style in exploring knowledge and chaos theory contribution in pursuing a PhD that leads him to write a book entitled Genius Menggapai PhD, or in English as Genius Style in Getting PhD, that was published by UTHM Publisher in 2017. Professor Arif was invited as a visiting professor at Tianjin University in 2019 and at Ibn Tufayl University, Morocco in 2020. Recently, he was invited to be an evaluator by Jiangsu Kinfei Talent Search in China to work and develop new products for China's international companies. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Muhammad Arif Agam to deliver his presentation entitled Genius, Chaos Theory, and Laser Irradiated Polymers.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala anbiya'i wa mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. Okay, I hope you can be patient with my talk. I think there's a lot of terms perhaps maybe you encounter it at the first time. Okay, I will address my salutation first. Okay, before I give my talk, I would like to address my gratitude, especially to UTHM, for giving me the chance to be part of the big family of UTHM. It was in 2000. Before that, I was a teacher. Okay, and that's is somehow a new challenge for me, okay? And it's been a quest for me to become a scientist since childhood, so I have a lifetime quest as to be as a scientist, and I achieve it today. So today is an event commemorates my achievement as a scientist. I would like to address my gratitude firstly towards our Vice Chancellor, Prof. Siri, for abolishing the pemangkuan system that making me getting my professorship. And I would like to address also my gratitude towards Prof. Hashim, because he's the one that interviewed me, selecting me to be part of his team member for the faculty. And he is also the one that assists my application for professorship. And I would like to address also my gratitude towards Prof. Dr. Luqman Hakim for selecting me as deputy, as director for student development. It suits me. I love students because I can see myself as a student before. So whenever I see you guys, the students, I'm just like looking at myself, okay? How I try to look and try to develop my talents. So if you can address your talent much earlier, maybe you will be better than us, okay? So go and try to explore your own talent. So I would like to address also for UTHM staff, so my salutation will be a little bit short, and also to my colleagues like Dr. Prof. Zaidi, okay, it's my best friends since UK, since we study in UK, and also to Provost and to my Dean, Dr. Kamuzaki and Dr. Prof. Kamuzaki and Dr. Zakino, and so to my fellow friends here on my right, Dr. Shahrudin and Azlan Wanti. I'm a guy that can mingle with a lot of other people. So very friendly, so you don't have to be worried, although my face really look really like a lion. I think like face like a lion, okay? But actually I'm very kind at heart. Okay. So that is, of course, I would like to my gratitude towards all the UTHM staff, okay? They are very friendly, okay? Azlan Wanti, okay? I know him quite sometimes. And some of the students also, Afisha and Amira Sarayati, they are really helping. Of course, when we try to develop ourselves, there's a lot of people will somehow influence you. That somehow will mold you into become what you are. So go on and mingle with a lot of the other peoples and develop your soft skills. Then you can become extraordinary. That's why my motto is unique, creative, and extraordinary. How to become extraordinary? That's why we need to understand how the genius think. And then we need to understand about chaos theory, why this is very important for us to understand that. If you look at the Western, whenever there is new theory, they always will jump into and try to understand it. Okay? This has happened already during the early civilizations of Islam, the early time of Prophet Muhammad preached us. We become like that. So I will tell you why later on. Okay, so I'd like to introduce to you, okay, this is brain cell. This is one brain cell. And if you compare with this graph, this image, this is conducting polymer. So if you look at it, the structure look like the same. Okay, so meaning you have a core things in the middles, and then it can spread out. And imagine that this is your brain. Your brain works so fast. The moment you see something, at that instant, your brain tries to translate whatever the thing that you see. If you see my face, automatically you know, oh, this is Arif. If you look at the NC, maybe at the back of the image of NC, okay, you can say, oh, that is NC. So you run away. There's a joke, okay? There's a joke. Okay, so meaning that our brain is working so fast. That is also happening in geniuses. So how can we train our brain to work so fast? That is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so this is part of my work. Of course, I need to tell you the story of my research, and it's all started with photolithography. This is photolithography image, when we try to create small things on the surface of silicon's wafer, and then we create what we call it integrated circuits, that at the end we get your computer, your handphone. So we are trying to fabricate material down to the nano, down to the atomic size. So that's a lot of problem actually. It's not easy. Okay, so I will tell you why all this seems unrelated, can be later on become related, especially to me. Okay, so of course, when we talk about genius, we need to realize there's a lot of geniuses. Even our UTHM, we have geniuses here, like Prof. Zaidi, and like Prof. Erwin. He's the top 2% scientist that able to be, I think, rank himself at the top 2% of world scientists. We have it. We are not worried about turning you to become genius, but we are worried if you are turning to become dumber. Okay? We are glad if you become geniuses. Okay? So, how do these scientists become genius? Consider genius. The painter become genius. Okay? If you look at them, they have certain kind of quality. They have the certain kind of discipline. Why I'm looking at this? Because I was asked a question by a student during my day as a teacher. The student asked me how to become genius. I couldn't give the answer. I just said, oh, you need to work hard. But that is not the answer to become a genius. There's a lot of things to develop in you before you can become extraordinary, or at the end you can consider as become genius. So that's why my motto is unique, creative, and extraordinary. So to become extraordinary, of course we need to learn from geniuses. So if you look at Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, Pablo Picasso, Alan Turing, and Edward Lorenz, these geniuses, they have their lifetime quest. Just like me, I have my lifetime quest. I dream to become a scientist. That is my lifetime quest. But this student question also become another quest for me. I need to find the answer for him. His name is Arif also. I don't know why, it's just coincidence. Okay, Arif want to be genius because maybe the Arif name meaning clever. So that's what make him wonder how to become clever or genius. So Albert Einstein, his quest, what is his quest? His quest is try to find the ultimate reference point from the universe. Where is the 0, 0, 0? The X, Y, Z axis, the origin axis. So he tried to find it, but he couldn't find it. But the way that the quest make him become passionate towards looking and exploring the ideas, where is the ultimate reference point? And for Leonardo da Vinci, okay, he's also having a quest. He's trying to make as detailed as possible, and suddenly when he tried to draw everything, he created a new field. I will tell you later. Pablo Picasso, he also have a certain quest. He wants to simplify everything that complex to become very simplified. Even Einstein do it, okay? Einstein to simplify all the energy terms, all the energy equations to become so simple that we can remember it easily, E equal to mc squared. So meaning that all the complex things down to become very simplified. And Alan Turing, he has a quest. His quest is, can machine think? Because of him, we get the computer. The computer is somehow a machine that thinks for us. And Edward Lorenz is about chaos theory. Chaos theory meaning that if you change one thing, you change everything. So if you have a mind to change in you, try to develop your talents, that is already, you are involved in chaos story. You are changing one simple things. Even let's say you just smile to Vice Chancellor in the lift, okay, during the lift ride, then suddenly your Vice Chancellor said, where are you from? What is your name? So that's create an event. So the chaos theory is about small event that later on become huge impact. Maybe one day you want to become a scientist, you go for interview, and maybe our NC will see, oh, I met you before. So that is an event create the huge impact. So all this, of course, if I can give the answer to my student, okay, you need to go deep enough, then later you will find something that worthwhile. So meaning that do not worry whatever you venture. Even if you venture into sand, sand is meaningless, isn't it? You step on it. But if you go deep into investigating about sand, sand is silica. When you go towards silica, you got your computer, because silica oxide is your wafer. Okay? So meaning that whatever you venture into, you might get something worthwhile. Even for me, it's become fardu kifaya for me to find the answer for the student. What is the meaning of becoming a genius? It's not easy. Okay? I'm not telling that I'm genius, no. But I'm trying to go towards it. And that somehow make me a little bit successful compared to me as a teacher. So that's the meaning of it. You start one project, you gain a lot. Okay, so Einstein said, everybody is a genius. So don't worry. You can become genius. The only thing is now how passionate you are. If you are not passionate enough, you will not go anywhere. So there's a lot of geniuses around us, like Tiger Woods. He became a genius for golf. Like Messi, a genius in football. So of course they work hard, but they need also to be very, very creative. So how to be creative, that is the most important part in your life. If you want to go to the upper level, upper rank, it's not about your knowledge anymore. It's about your creativity. The more you're creative, the more you climb the stage above. Okay? So Einstein said that our brain is working so fast. Just like I told you before, when you see something, automatically your brain tries to interpret. If we can train that, okay? I've been training my son, my children, whenever I drive, whenever I see the plate number 7138, I ask my children, what is the total value of that 7138? And they will train that, their brain. So I'm lucky to train them. So 3 of my children get straight A's, okay? I'm a little bit proud of that, okay? I think I'm not only train myself to become extraordinary, I also try to train my children, okay? And now you realize that your brain works so fast, you need to train that, but this is the proven of how our brain works so fast. If you look at this, John Collinus Hubbard, okay, is a NASA researcher. He just does the sketches of the lunar orbit rendezvous. No calculation, no language. So meaning that our brain works without the language, without the mathematical equations. Your brain works so fast. Later on, now the second part, then we put our mathematical understanding to prove that this is right. So meaning that, don't worry about mathematical equations. Einstein also having the same problem. Even me also, okay? I'm having the same problem too with mathematics. Okay, so don't worry about it. So just look at the things that you do, and you realize that, okay, you realize that all these people are telling us what to do. Okay, Einstein telling us that we need to think very fast, train that. Leonardo da Vinci, train us to look into details. So at the end, when Leonardo da Vinci looked into details, he created new field that we call it anatomy. So when you look into details, at the end you create a new field. So when you dig enough, you will stumble to a new things that will be unique and that will be yours, your legacy. So I'm trying to tell you that you need to create your own legacy, your own history. Nobody can create it for you. You are the one. So you need to make your own move. If I don't do anything, I will end up as teacher. Okay? Now, if you look at Pablo Picasso, he's trying to summarize things from Z to A. So you can see that this is an image of the bull, and he tried to summarize it into a very simplified form. And we are doing the same, okay? We are doing the same, actually. You try to simplify a lot of other things. Even like maybe you try to memorize a lot of sentence, making you just remember of a few words. But the Islam, okay? If you look like Leonardo da Vinci, they start A to Z, Pablo Picasso Z to A, but we have our own style. It's been taught to us, but we didn't really appreciate it. That is Al-Baghdadi technique. Al-Baghdadi technique. Al-Baghdadi technique is used by the Al-Hafiz trainer. How they can memorize the Al-Quran, all the ayats there. And let us try. What is the third ayat of Al-Fatiha? Anybody? So maybe because if we are a serial person, meaning a serial person, you need to go Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Then you realize it's Maliki Yawmiddin. Because you train your brain to go A to Z. But if your brain is trained like Al-Baghdadi technique, you automatically know that the third ayat is Maliki Yawmiddin. So that is how we train to become a genius. We need to go on these three basic techniques. From A to Z, Z to A, and also you can go from K to L or K to Z. Okay? So that's how to become genius. And also, Alan Turing, the man that have the quest, his curiosity, can machine think, okay? You realize that is making him become passionate, okay? Okay? That making him become passionate. And now we go towards chaos theory. As it was given by Edward Lorenz. Edward Lorenz is a scientist. He tried to predict what is the best time to drop a bomb. He's trying to predict the weather, okay, in 1942. So it's not easy. You have all the algorithm, and he tried to change very minute numbers, okay? At the end, he found out that the small changes that he made create a huge deviated prediction. So just small changes, just the flap of the wing of a butterfly, it will create a tornado in America. So that's the meaning of chaos theory. Meaning that every single small things that you do, insignificant things that you do, even attending this, maybe attending this talk, maybe for some of people it's meaningless. Okay? Some people meaning why should I go for this talk? But that is an insignificant event that perhaps can make changes to you. That is the meaning of Islam also. Even in Islam we have just a smile become a deed. Because Islam understands the meaning of the significant, insignificant event. Just a smile can create a lot of huge impact. Okay? Just a mere, let's say, the janitor, or maybe some of you don't know about Mr. Azlan Wanti, but maybe because of you knowing Mr. Azlan Wanti, it creates huge impact in your life later on. So don't worry, just mingle with anybody, perhaps they can give you something important. So this is the meaning of chaos theory. One insignificant event like the coronavirus, one patient that having coronavirus, suddenly we have 600 millions. And if you look at it, the graph is exponential. So meaning that one single event can create the exponential rates of huge impact in the future. So it only takes one step. You make one step today, you can become extraordinary later on within 10 years. Because that's the meaning of Edward Lawrence's finding. And if you look at it, if you don't do nothing, your graph could be flat. So if you do a lot of things, your graph will be exponential higher rate. So if you look at our university, is our university is going this exponential rate, or is our university is going this kind of line? If it's flat, meaning that our staff is not working so well. Okay? If my research, if I look at my Google research, if my Google research account of citation is flat, I know that that guy is not working really well. Okay? So beware. But surprisingly, Prophet Muhammad is listed as the most influential, the most genius guy in this world. Why? He's not a scientist. He's not a painter. Suddenly, a guy named Michael H. Hart ranked Prophet Muhammad as the geniuses of the world. Till now. Why? Because you can see Muhammad as a model, as a son, Muhammad as a model of a preacher, Muhammad as a model of warrior. Every angle, Muhammad is the best. So that is unique in Islam. Okay, that is unique in Islam. And I'm convinced that I'm following the right religion, the truth religions. As physicists, I'm looking to these kind of things. And of course, I'm looking into the early followers of Prophet Muhammad. Whenever a verse, the followers pass it like lightning, pass the words. And they pass the words from Muhammad without any omitting, without any additions. That at the end, creating a unique Al-Quran that until now, no other holy scriptures can stay authentic like Al-Quran. Again, we become the first. So Islam is trying to teach us, you need to become the first in whatever situation. Okay? And that's make me, I'm trying to become the first in my family to go to university. I want to be the first to become the professor in my family. That is the training. That is the training of Islam. That is the training to become extraordinary. And now, if this training we become, make it as a culture, we will create a lot of scientists. And even surprise, within 100 years, we created Islamic civilization far, far better from the China civilization or Indian civilization that took thousands of years. We managed to create Islamic civilization within 100 years. And which race that imitated that? The Malay. Meaning that the Malay are genius. the only race in this world that can imitate what Prophet Muhammad done, and the same formula. If Prophet Muhammad used one, Prophet Muhammad as the first, and then get 4 sahabat, we also have the same formula. We got Tun Perak and 5 Hang Tua, Hang Jebat, Hang Lekir, Hang Lekyu. 1 to 4 in Prophet Muhammad system, and us 1 to 5. Maybe because we a little bit incapable, but we still managed to create a civilization from 14,000 to 15,000 within 100 of years, meaning the Malays are genius. Okay, you can be proud of that. You can be proud to the China, you can be proud to the Indians, you can be proud to the Western people. We are a great people. So remember that. Don't look down on yourself. Okay? So now, if we look into the quality of genius, Alfred A. Barrows, okay, a psychologist, he tried to look into how this genius behave. You can see that it's 24 traits, and you need to go into develop all these traits in you. Like drive. Drive means passion. You will not stop whatever the challenge is. And sportsmen are good. They are having this kind of quest. They have the idea of 110%. I'm giving 110%, meaning that they are, the 100 is perfect, the 10% is extraordinary. So you need to have this kind of philosophy in you. Okay? So that's, I try to simplify it. First, you need to have quest. Second, you become passionate. Once you become passionate, you try to create all other things. Then you started to become creative. Then when you start become creative, you become unique. Then once you become unique, nobody can challenge you. You will become the chosen one. You become extraordinary. So if you look at it, it's all started with one point, one event. If you go proceed with another 2, another 2 more from that original 2, at the end you got so many things have been done in your life. So this is what I mean by chaos theory. One small changes, you create more changes in the future. For 1 point, you get 2 points. Okay? So that's, we realize that the formula could be simplified by y equal to the power of x. For every single things that you learn, if you transform this formula into doing research or doing your study, you will be excellent. For one single term, let's say you go to geometry. Now, if you look at geometry, what the next keywords for geometry? So, of course, you got x and y and z. And then what's more, you get a lot of other things. By carry on doing it, then later on maybe you find something else. So if you look at this is how I explain why Islam able to create civilization very fast, because the formula is actually a nuclear reaction formula, the chain reaction. So meaning that we are being told, but we never realize it. Even this shape is the dome of a mosque. Okay? The dome of a mosque. It means Islam trying to tell you what is the formula that you need to follow. For every one single thing, we need to get to. So at the early stage of Islam, one single Muslim would always try to find and preach to 2 other guys. Okay? But if we transform it in our learning, we start at 1 point, we end up at many. So the graph could be y to the power 2 to the power of x, or 3 to the power of x, 4 to the power of x, depend on you. So if you are a little bit lazy, y to the power of x. But if you are becoming like Messi, you may be y 4 to the power of x. Okay? Now, realize this again. You see that it's a small changes to create nuclear reactions. You only need to accelerate one neutron to create nuclear reaction. Just one neutron. No more, no less. Okay? And look at the analogy with Islam. Allah accelerate Muhammad, then you create 3 more followers or 4 more followers, Abu Bakr, Omar, Osman, Ali. And this create another 9. So if we can perform this formula in ourselves or in our organizations, we can become extraordinary at no time. Okay? So this is also the meaning of exponential rate. This is also the meaning of chaos theory. If you change one thing, you change everything. Okay? Now, the same ideas being given by Mohd. This is my idea, and I trying to tell you that you can start anywhere. Okay? Then you can follow this. You can start your research here. Maybe this has been done by people. You can start your research here. Okay? People start, let's say, try to do electron beam. Maybe you can use laser beam. That is the idea. Okay? Now, the same, now we go towards my research. This is my PhD. How I did my PhD. I was not a full-fledged student, okay? My degree, I did get it 2.0 because I'm a playful guy during my degree. Keep on dating a lot of girls, keep on becoming mad rempet like that. So stupid I am, wasting my time. Now I realize I'm stupid, okay? But that was the time you try to explore yourself. But once you realize, is this all that I have? That become a quest, okay? That become a quest. Is this all I have? So I started with nanosphere lithography. I look at it again, just like the graph there. 1 point you try to get to, but in my case I tried to get 4 points. And when I go deep, suddenly I realized that I need to modify the nanospheres. Sorry. But during my PhD, I realized that I'm doing what the genius have always done. That is, I started to become passionate of my nanospheres, of polystyrene. Even when I come back from my PhD, people laugh. I mean, what is your research about? Polystyrene, they laugh. Because they think that polystyrene is nothing. Just like some of us maybe think sand is nothing. Because you don't know the meaning of things. That's why you laugh. But once you realize, you will not laugh. So, I become consistent of digging. I started creative. I changed. What if I do this? What if I do that? That's, I call it theory if. So when what is the word that make you become creative? We have 5 wives, 1 husband. That is what, where, who, when. That is 5 wives. And the last is how. These 5 is not making you creative. The only thing that making you creative is if. If I do this way, if I do that, if I go and refer to Prof. Syarahan, if I refer this to Prof. Luqman Hakim, so you get a different version that make you become creative. So always use if when you want to become creative. Okay, so I become creative later on. Then when you explore and keep and explore, at the end you become unique. Then at the end you become extraordinary. So that is the same thing. I tried to show it to you. I started with nanospheres and I realized that I can use a lot of other polymers. thousands of polymers. I'm only focused on 2 polymers for now. I can modify the polymers by laser irradiations or electron beam. I can also dope the polymer with metal nanoparticles. So meaning that so many things can be created. And again here, okay, I show you how the image there can be transformed. You keep on digging and then you will manage to create a new things here, modifying nanospheres. So, of course, you started with one event. You need to be determined, you need to be passionate, then you need to be creative by using the theory if, what if I do this, what if I do that? And now you also need to be realized that if you do something, you must get, you gain something. Allah is most merciful. Okay? Allah is most merciful. He will not let whatever you strive hard, He will always give you something. So, if you are successful, the meaning is that you have the change of positive event. If you fail, it means that you have not do something part of it. You become a failure. Just like me, I could not become a good golf player because I trained a little bit late. Okay? Prof Lokman pun the same. we are not good at golf, but we become a social golfer. Meaning we play golf just to share our time, fun, okay, enjoy the moment. So now if you realize to become successful, you always try to create the positive reaction. Reduce the negative impact. So let's say if your friends ask you to watch a movie, oh, is it giving you a lot? No. So just like me, do I watch Gaga Vaganza? No. Because for me it's, but my wife loves it. But I think because she's already have a lot of time to now. Okay, now if you look at it clearly, I started with polystyrene, okay? The polystyrene is being produced in spear-like structure and suspended in water, and you drop coated into the silicone, and they having the capillary force, so they assemble together, then you can use it for precise positions of nanoparticle. That is my first instance of my research. Okay, so I realized that there are 4 problems in nanotechnology. Okay, the first is making small thing down to atomic size. A lot of scientists are doing it. And the second thing is precise positioning. That's come the work like self-assembled monolayers, like my works, or photolithography. That is a precise position of things. And later on, interconnection, you're making the wiring, okay, at nano scale. Then you create your integrated circuits for your computer like that. So when we able to create productions at atomic size precisions, that can be considered the ultimate productions. Okay, and what is the ultimate the efficient product is our body. Our own body is very precise, atomic precise. So we can't compare with the God creations. So in my case, I realized that I need to modify the polystyrene. I bombard it with laser, with electron beam at first. Now I know that it shrink. We get something there. I do with AFM, I can see that the polystyrene is shrinking. And I realized that this way I can precise position of gold nanoparticles. But I'm not interested in the precise position. I'm interested more at the third level that try to make the interconnections. Meaning that I'm interested in tuning the polymer to become conductive. Imagine that you go outer space, what kind of material that you need to bring? Okay? The easiest way to bring it is just like your own feces. Your own feces can be reproduced to become polymer because basically your own feces is carbon. So you can synthesize polymer at outer space and bombard it with laser. If you can tune it to become insulator, semiconductor, and conductor, that is the ultimate of doing things. Okay? That is my research all about. It's trying to bombard this polystyrene to become insulators, semiconductors, and conductors. So now we realize that it shrinks. I know something happened, but at that time it's very difficult to do the analysis because there is no equipment can analyze down to nano area. Okay, so I need to create it bigger. So I realized that if I bombard with 9.9 millicoulomb per square centimeter, the polystyrene to shrink, okay, here until 30 minutes of electron beam, I can see that the spear-like structures turning to hexagonals. I know something happened, but at that time during my PhD, I can't do much, okay, because it's very hard to do the analysis because it's so small. Okay, now when I realized that, I tried to prove it again with RIE, oxygen plasma. We try to etch it, then we can see the etching rate is different, and you can realize that there is something happened to the polystyrene. Okay, again, I do it, and then I can see, I can precise positions of nanoparticle there. This is maybe about 50 nanometer. Okay, even for your computer and your phone, the wiring is now getting down below to 30 nanometer. So at this time, last 20 years, it could be great, okay? So I realized that I can shrink the polystyrene with electron beam, able to pattern for gold nanoparticles, and I know that if I irradiate polystyrene, there should be new materials that we don't really know at the time. And I realized also, using the diagram, I can't do research basically based on my research. So I have Farizan, Rashida, and Ubaidullah. Farizan is nanoparticles and try to immobilize protein. So you have your goal and you have your protein running through, then the protein will be catch by your nanoparticles. Why this is important? Just like your COVID-19 test kit. Okay, they have nanoparticles there. So when you run it, you can get a signal, then it can become a sensor, biosensor. Okay, and Rashida is RIE, extending my work. And Ubaidillah, now we change. From electron beam, we change to laser. Ubaidillah bombard the polystyrene with laser. Then Pratama, the first time we tried to put nanoparticles, metal nanoparticles, into the polystyrene. Okay, so we got a lot of things. This is some of the works me with Dr. Zaidi. We managed to show that there is some chemical changes. Okay, this is the style that we do the research. We bombard laser towards our sample polystyrene on the surface, and 1 centimeter squared. And later on, we do the XPS for non-radiated, and the 10-minute radiated polystyrene 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. And at 50, you can see that we can get something like graphene. Okay? But we need to do more works. And again, if we look at the fluctuations of the chemical bonding, We got the CC, CH, COO, and CSP2 is for the graphene. Then we can see that we might create graphene at the end. Okay? Why it is important? Because graphene is one layer, it's very active. So I realized that we can also put nanoparticles on the polystyrene. That is Pratama works, and his work is more on using this particle to absorb chemical dye. Okay, we have done it. And of course, we also do the reactive ion etching again. Okay, this somehow is under oxygen. Okay, we can create the plasma where we create a radical oxygen, and this radical oxygen can attach with your polystyrene, take some of its carbon, then the material become chisel away. Okay, so meaning that I can see that if laser irradiated, okay, you can see that less carbon inside it. Okay, now, okay, again, the work is been extended again by Gibrint, and we can get a different pattern. Why this pattern is important? Because you can put nanoparticles there, and it can become as sensors, LED, emitters, a lot of things there. Okay, now, even for my recent PhD student, Abdullah graduated already. He extended Farizan work, that is immobilized protein, but now we try to immobilize Alzheimer enzyme. We get the results. It's mean the Alzheimer enzyme is for old people. We are getting old, isn't it? We keep losing our memory. Why? Because there is an enzyme in our brain that keep on producing to make us forget. But if we can catch that enzyme, okay, you will not get Alzheimer. So that is some of my works. Even if I get a medical doctor, maybe we can do this with COVID-19 cases. Okay? And of course, we are interested on the binding side of the nanoparticles. So this is Pratama work, okay, the binding side. We keep on looking where is this nanoparticle go to. And of course, this is the whole story of my research. Okay, that is, you can see Rashida is doing the RIA, Ubay is doing the laser irradiations, Pratama is introducing the metal nanoparticles, and then Gibrint is focused on argentum nanoparticles in the polystyrene and irradiate it. Beckner is heavy metal absorber. So we get that result. Abdullah is Alzheimer. Salah Saleh with bimetallic. You can use one type of metals, but if you use two, we call it bimetallic. Okay, and then Matum with solar cells, and we realize that we can somehow tune the energy band gap of the polymer. So that is Nabila works. And Salim, now we're going towards another polymer. Before this, all this is more on polystyrene. Now we started to go into polyanilines. And Allah Nihat is going towards making it thinner so that we get the quantum conductive confinement technique. Okay? So if you look at it, okay, this is Gibrint works. We irradiate the polystyrene, okay, just polystyrene, no metal particles. And we irradiated 10, 20, 30, 40, okay, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And we can see that this is FTIR spectra. You can see the fluctuations of the peak here. Here we have a peak, suddenly it disappears, we have a peak again. Here also we can see some disappearance of peak. We know that there is chemical changes to the polystyrene. And if we do XRD, we can see now clearly that the polystyrene is amorphous, meaning that they are not precise positioned. They keep entangled. Okay? But when we bombard with laser, we got that they become crystal-like structure. Okay? And we can see the spacing of this structure of the polystyrene. We know that the polystyrene molecules is somehow reconstructs and transform themselves from amorphous to crystal-like structure. Okay? That's why we are convinced they can create graphite and graphene. And we know that why it is important, because we try to tune, okay? We try to tune that the polymer can become conductive, okay? All the research in the world are busy trying to synthesize what you call it, polymer conductive polymer. But we are doing opposite way. We have the polymer, we try to reconstruct it to become conductive. We are not synthesizing. We just try to manipulate it. So the polystyrene, now we realize, can absorb energy because when they are in crystal-like structure, they have lattice. Okay? Meaning that they have like a drum surface. So whenever there is light coming, it will be making the vibrations of the lattice. Lattice is just like a plane of piece of paper. So when you touch it, it will vibrate. So meaning that when it vibrates, it will excite the electron. The electron is liberated, then it can become conductive. That is more on my work. So now we realize if we put nanoparticles in the polystyrene without laser irradiation, also we know that when you put, this is your, let's say your fibers, when you put nanoparticles, it means your fibers will not be moving. Okay? So that shows that with only doping, we already make the changes. That's the meaning of if. If I put it, something there, it would not be it would not be like polystyrene anymore. It would behave a little bit different. Now, if I laser it, okay, now we laser it, you can see that the polystyrene with different ratios are having a lot of spike, and some of the spike is unknown, okay? This spike is perhaps argentum, more like argentum, okay? And this spike that is unknown, that what we are so much interested, because this spike can be from polystyrene. And now we focus on 1:8 ratio and bombard with laser, 1:8 ratio of polystyrene and argentum, and we bombard it with laser. We can see again that the fluctuations of the peak there, here again also. Now we realize that it's confirmed that the polymer is changing. Then we do the extraordinary, we know that they change into more like graphite and diamond, showing that we can get a diamond-like carbon. And of course, I realize that I'm doing the manipulations. That is the most important part in research. You need to be able to manipulate. Later, you need to be able to control. And third is the applications. Now, if you look at my research, I see that we can manipulate it. Now, we know that we try to control the behavior of the polymer. Now, we are going for applications. Okay? And when we are going to applications, we look into the energy band gap. Energy band gap is about the amount of energy needed for you to excite the electron to be free electron. So when it's become free, you can see that at 1.72 here, meaning that the energy band gap here, electron volts, meaning that you started at about 3.9, we can tune the polystyrene to become 1.72 electron volts, meaning that it can become as a solid cell materials. Imagine that all this surface we have, all the paint that we have now, is useless because it's just aesthetic meaning. It doesn't function much. But if we can change all this paint to become a solar cell, even your car or the aeroplane, so meaning it can absorb all the energy in there. So that is the meaning of my work. So this is pure polystyrene bombarded with laser, and this is polystyrene with nanoparticles. This is copper. So we can see that we can tune the energy to 1.38, meaning that from insulator, now we can tune it to become conductor or semiconductor. Okay? Just like I said, when you go to travel to outer space, you just don't have to bring anything. You can synthesize your own pieces to become a polymer. So you realize that energy band gap become decreased with longer durations of laser irradiations. Okay? And we speculate how they transform. This is Dr. Hairul, Dr. Hairul from UM. And we realize that this is what I said, that amorphous, there is no specific structure, specific orientation. Now this is your, I call it oriented positions of your molecule. And we realize that we are breaking bonds, we are creating bonds, the polymer restructuring, we create graphite and graphene, we can get solar cell, even sensors and coating, and we realize that it could be a Nobel Prize work if we can prove how much the lattice can be created, okay, by laser irradiation. How the lattice work, how the reconstruction. So a lot of more works can be done from my research. Okay, this is what I call like a drum here. So when we bombard, the polymer started to reorientate themselves, reorganize. They create what you call it like a lattice that can become like a drum. So when light coming, they vibrate, so you can elaborate electron. Maybe the electron can move everywhere. Okay? Then we realize that suddenly you find out that your work is a world-class work. Okay, I show you why. You can see that this is Rice University. Where is it? Okay. So this is my work. First, I started with electron beam. Coming back from PhD, I started with laser irradiation. Now suddenly at 2020, Rice University proved that they can get graphene. The same ideas, but the only thing they have more machine, more people. They prove that they get graphene structure. Okay? Rice University only get it in 2020. We get it much earlier. We are leading. Okay? Again here, this is from Nottingham University. They try to use electron beam, bombard to chemicals, then they can look into how the chemical bonding. So the same idea, using electron beam and looking into things, just like my idea. But our idea is a little bit different. We try to create and tune the polymer to become insulator, semiconductor, and conductor. Okay? So now, we also realize that we create what we call it diamond-like carbon from the polystyrene with argentum, bombard with laser, and we compare with the work by, I can't see that, Santra. Okay? Santra show that when you have a diamond, a graphite and diamond band there, when they become 1-to-1, it said that you get the diamond-like carbon. Okay? Why it is important? Just like Dr. Zaidi told me, we might perhaps create a 7,000 years battery. Okay? How is it possible? Imagine that we have a waste nuclear material. You encapsulate it with polystyrene, and the polystyrene turn into diamond-like carbon. They have lattice, so all the radiations vibrate the lattice of your diamond, so you liberate your electrons so much, and you have another layer that is also conductor. So now you have so much of electron here and so loss of electron here, so you will get what we call it bias voltage that can be turned into battery. The only problem now, I don't have radioactive guy, I don't have the radioactive materials, I don't have all the things that I needed. So meaning that if you want to become a Nobel Prize winner, you will not be able to stand alone. You need to have a lot of team. The team that doing the simulation, the team that doing the polymer, the team that doing the radioactive, the team that doing the analysis. So all this while, for 20 years, I'm doing it alone. So I'm at the end of my career. So maybe some of you will take it and go towards getting the Nobel Prize winner. Okay, so this is showing also we are doing it with gamma. Okay, with gamma ray. Okay, we did get the energy band gap down also, decrease. So meaning that we can use this to create this 5,000 or 7,000 years battery. So in the future, the race is already here. It's coming on. Even China is having what we call it artificial sun. China, Korea, UK, they are racing to create artificial sun. Atau dalam bahasa Malaysia, matahari tiruan. From hydrogen. So if this energy becomes so cheap, okay, meaning that your production will no longer about energy. Meaning that your battery is no longer, your phone is no longer about battery. The battery will not be a problem. What is the problem? Is how efficient is your phone. That will be the next future. So if we realize that, we will go towards energy free. Okay? So this is part of my researches. Of course, I have Ubay, I have a lot of my PhD students are overseas students. I don't know why the Malaysians are reluctant to be my students. Okay? Only get a few. Maybe because my research is so focused, so small, and it doesn't spread out so much. Right? Okay, so that is my research work. If you look at it carefully, I started with electron beam of polystyrene. Now I do some laser radiations, and then I started to look at the energy band gap. I started to doping also. Now I started to go to other polymer. We are thinking of polyaniline and PMMA, polymethyl methacrylate, okay, and other polymer. We have 1,000 polymer. I'm not worried about the polymer. That I'm worried about how many people that can get involved with this kind of research. Okay, I got a new 2 students from Pakistan. So I already reached out Malaysia, Indonesia, Nigeria, Iran, Yemen, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Now I got another part that is Pakistan. Okay, so here again, there's more towards my research. We are looking into not only the energy band gap, now we are looking into conductivity. Okay, so here is the Salim work. Salim proved that we not only can reduce the energy band gap, we can also increase the conductivity, meaning that the polymer that bombarded with electron beam we can make it as wire. Now, the only thing is that how many people can get involved with my research. So this is again, I'm showing you the data, okay? I'm a little bit fast on this, okay? And this is some of the recent work, and you can see that we get much better from the other people, our conductivity. And this is, I play around what the things that I can do. I already done polystyrene with metals, argentum, copper, titanium dioxide, a lot of other metals, but I only report to you about argentum and copper. And we also do polystyrene and silica. I didn't report it here. We do also polyaniline and silica. Why? Because the polymer that I use, polystyrene, is insulator. I can turn it into conductor. Then if we started with polyaniline is a conductor polymer. It behaves much better conductive polymer. Okay, so why I'm focusing on conducting polymer? Because it is the race now. Okay, in the future we will use less metal because metal having a lot of other problems like corrosions, okay, like chemical reactions, like cracking, very hard to replace. But in the future we will go more towards polymer. Why? Because polymer, as I said, we can tune the polymer. That is my part. And we can use it as sensor. We can use it as semiconductor materials. We can use it with a lot of maybe light emitting material, like emitting diodes. Okay, this is some of the paper. Even I asked my son, okay, Adam Rafiq there down here, okay, to do some work. But he didn't do his degree here. He did his degree in UTHM. But I forced him to do his FYP, final year project, with Jibrint. And we put the nanoparticle in the polystyrene. And since my son is doing more on satellite, so we are trying to absorb the wavelength. So we have a paper on that. So now you realize that we see that how to become genius is not easy, okay? You need to be patient, you need to be consistent, you need to be creative, you need to be unique, then you become extraordinary, then that extraordinary will not confirm you as genius yet, okay? So, meaning that it's not easy to be genius. But there is a way. You realize that the only thing that you need to do, you start at somewhere, you start at one point, you will get a lot of other points, then you can explore so many things after that. So you can see that I started with electron beam, later laser, and we use gamma. We realize that we are doing the transformation of polystyrene from insulator to semiconductor to conductor. We also, this is like wrapping up my talks. We know that we can make it as solar cell, meaning that if we can bombard all the polymers with laser, we can turn it into solar cells, so we get all the current freely, and we can make it as heavy metal absorber. We can also use it as wastewater remediation. This is Dr. Zaidi expertise. Medical applications, just like Alzheimer's disease. And in the future, I would like to do more on this because previous research that I did is more on ambient condition, atmospheric conditions. I didn't get the budget for this kind of device where I can control the gases that introduce during the laser irradiations. We can introduce it argon, we can introduce it with oxygen, we can introduce it with nitrogen, inert gas, so that we can see what kind of transformations of the lattice. That's why I said that the work can become as Nobel Prize winner. Okay, this is my simplified version on how to become geniuses. And then you know that if you create exponential graph, you are on the right track. If you are not doing, your graph is not exponential, you know that there is something doesn't seem right. Okay? So recently, when you are good, people will chase you. This is what happened to me. I was approached by Professor Chang Yu from Arizona State University, and he asked me to send my CV to Gina. Gina is working at Jiangsu Kingfei Talent Search, meaning that China is looking into scientists, a good scientist, to help them create new products. Meaning they realize that my work is a little bit different from other scientists. My work is more opposite from other scientists. Other scientists focus on synthesizing. Me, we are focusing on modifications of the polymer itself. Okay? Of course, I would like to tell you that when you are good, you will be the chosen one. That's what happened, as Prophet Muhammad said. Prophet Muhammad conquered Mecca without any fight. That these ultimate things happen to you. Meaning that when you are so good, people will not fight you. Okay? So I want all of us to become like that. Okay? And this is my world. And I would like to give, since my mother is here, I would like to address my gratitude, my appreciation to my mother there. She's the one that giving me birth. She's the one that become my motivations to become different. Okay? Since childhood, I always a little bit different, I think. Okay? From my brothers, Rahim, and my younger brother, Aziz. Okay? I tried to lead them. I tried to find ways how to become better so that they might follow me. But a little bit late. Okay? Maybe they are not following my footsteps. But luckily, Rahim children are following my footsteps now. And I think I become the model for Rahim children. So Rahim children are doing well in a lot of universities. Okay? And this is my world. I like to give my gratitude, appreciations to my wife, Pon Rubija. She is my Nilofa, she is my whatever Taylor Swift. So she is every single beauty. Okay? And I do like to thank her because she became my third supervisor during my PhD. I have Prof. Richard Palmer and Kwame Ngo, and I have my wife as third that looking into my grammar and my English. And she always complained that whenever I try to write something, I always jump. That's how I'm trying to tell you, your brain works so fast. So physicists like me always jump towards. So people don't understand what I'm trying to tell you. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to tell you. And of course, I would like to thank my late father, Agam. He couldn't read. He can write only his name. But his view is really making me change. So we always have this kind of influence. Appreciate it. Okay? Your father, your mother, They are the only people. That's why I choose not to invite others. I choose to invite my mother and my brother and my wife, because they are the one that sacrifice a lot. And wrapping up everything, I would like to give my quote that I use. If you change one thing, you change everything. You start one point, you get many points later on. Okay? You need to be the best, and then you beat the rest. With that, thank you.
I'm speechless, but it's definitely an inspiring and full of knowledge presentation. Thank you very much to the Honorable Professor Dr. Mohd Arif Agam. And then I would like to invite the members of the floor, if you have any questions, you can come forward. Any comments from members of the floor? No? Okay. So that was a very inspiring presentation on genius, chaos theory, and laser irradiated polymers. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would like to invite the Honorable Professor Dr. Ruzairi bin Abdul Rahim, the Vice Chancellor of UTHM, accompanied by the Honorable Professor Technologist Dr. Hajah Roziati Ibrahim, the Chairman of UTHM Council of Professors, to present a token of appreciation to our presenter, Professor Dr. Mohd Arif bin Agam. I was also informed that Professor Dr. Mohd Arif will also present his appreciation to the Council of Professors through the Vice Chancellor of UTHM.
May I give some
Yes.
point? Okay.
Witnessed by the Chairman.
I like to create a legacy. I'm giving a token of a pen. A pen is a symbol for you give when you get when your friend become a Nobel laureate. So I would like to start the new legacy in UTHM by giving a token of pen. Maybe it is insignificant now. Maybe in 1,000 years after this, it could perhaps fetch 1 million prize. Okay? So that is the meaning of chaos theory. You give one small insignificant things, perhaps in 1,000 years, it become huge amount of value. With that, I would like to give it to Prof. Zairi as a symbol of starting of new legacy to UTHM.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Professor Dr. Ruzairi Abdul Rahim, Professor T.S. Dr. Hajah Roziati bin Ibrahim, and our presenter for today, Professor Mohd Dr. Arif bin Agam. And with that, all right, once again, ladies and gentlemen, with the presentation of souvenirs, we have come to the end of the inaugural lecture. And for your information, the souvenirs given are sponsored by the Faculty of Applied Science and Technology, together with the presenter for today, Professor Dr. Mohd Arif bin Agam. And on behalf of the organizing committee, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your support and for being here. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.